7-8 years back, a lot of people looked at AI as a competitive advantage. Today, I think more or less it has become a business imperative. As a baby is born, you have a blank mind, and with the progression of time, you internalize based on your learning. Your brain memory enriches in terms of learnings, right? So AI is no different. More data it consumes, it learns patterns, it learns algorithms, and it learns to then think on its own.
The traditional businesses, there's no choice left now. I think AI is here, and organizations need to really adapt to this change. When 2000 list came of Fortune 500 companies, 52% of those companies don't exist today. And some of those survived and became big because they were proactive and seeing what's happening around them. And today, traditional companies need to see that something big is happening around them, which is AI. And if they don't jump on this bandwagon, digital first companies will eat them away.
Prioritizing data helps businesses stand out and also fosters a culture of innovation. Hello, you're with Echelon, and today we're discussing why data centricity is key in driving a digital first strategy. And in the studio with us today, Ramesh Shanmuganathan. Ramesh is Chief Executive of John Keells IT and Group Chief Information Officer at John Keells Holdings. Also here is Rajeev Singh, who is VP of Corporate Business for the Indian subcontinent for ERP giant SAP. So Ramesh, Rajeev, great to have you here at Echelon. Let's start here, Ramesh, and this is kind of a broad question to enter the topic. Why is an AI first strategy important, and what role has data centricity to do with the success of such a strategy?
Samir, I think AI has been probably most abused word probably these days, I guess. And about 7-8 years back, a lot of people looked at AI as a competitive advantage. Today, I think more or less it has become a business imperative, right? Because why so? I would name probably three reasons. Because today, every customer wants hyper-personalization, right? So they don't want junk thrown at them. They want whatever is sent to them, a product which is offered online to be personalized. You take Netflix, you take Amazon. Based on your buying pattern, you get a lot of the things getting personalized to you so that your propensity to consume that is more. Second thing is in terms of driving process efficiency, right? Today, we see a lot of the time inefficiencies in organizations because there is churn, and obviously the knowledge also leaves with the person, and efficiency suffers. So today with AI, you're able to build on that knowledge base and enhance that quotient significantly with the progression of time, right? Third one is the business model innovation, right? I think these are the three I would think business imperatives which is driving AI, and AI without data obviously is
I'm going to ask you to relate that to data. How does personalization, process efficiency and business modeling innovation link data to that?
As any human being, right? As a baby is born, you have a blank mind, right? And you, with the progression of time, you internalize based on your learning. Your brain memory enriches in terms of learnings, right? So AI is no different. So the more data it consumes, it learns patterns, it learns algorithms, and it learns to then think on its own, especially with the artificial generative intelligence. So I think that's where the world is going, right? So you're trying to mimic a human being from a computing lingo. And I think with the progression of time, you're going to see a computer brain becoming better than an average human brain. And I think already, we're kind of crossing that chasm. So I think that's the relativity I would think.
All right. Rajeev, let me bring you in, and you overlook the Indian subcontinent, which includes India, right? As a market we are all currently very envious about because of the leaps that you're seeing in productivity growth, tech adoption that is underlying that kind of growth, right? What are the implications you think for businesses that haven't transformed to this architecture or this model where digitalization is crucial to untap productivity, to untap success in the broader sense?
So the traditional businesses, right, for I think there's no choice left now.
Right.
I think AI is here and now, and organizations need to really adapt to this change. If you look at since 2000, right, when 2000 list came of Fortune 500 companies, 52% of those companies don't exist today.
52% of
Yes.
the year 2000
They-
lists don't exist today. Wow.
That list doesn't exist, and some of those survived and became big because they were proactive and seeing what's happening around them.
Sure.
And today, brick and mortar companies, traditional companies, need to see that something big is happening around them, which is AI.
Right.
And if they don't jump on this bandwagon, I think they'll be left behind. The digital first companies will eat them away. And this is, so first implication is that. So, but how do they get there?
Yes.
Having an ambition is one part.
Yeah.
That I need to have AI, and then execution is another part. So yeah, it's very easy that when ChatGPT came, we all said, okay, we'll start writing emails, etc. And same thing for businesses. They can very easily think that, I need to jump on this AI and build an AI empire. But no, I think that would be the biggest foolish strategy for any brick and mortar company. I think you need to be very clear on what business problem you need to solve, and then
And the foundations.
decide your AI strategy around it. And but to answer your question, is it needed? I think extremely important. Implication is they'll cease to exist. Of course, implication is that they will have to have employees reskilled. They will need to ensure that they don't jump onto a bandwagon of AI where they're exposing their competitive advantage and data to a exposed
Third party,
LLM, third party, right? So these are implications that brick and mortar companies need to look at.
So tell me what your pitch is to a company that's a medium-sized company. Say it's at least a $10 million annual revenue. But I mean, we can go from $10 million to $100 million, and that's a huge range, I know, and it's a very different business when you come out on the other side. But address these companies. Where do you start? Right? Ambition is great; it's the first step, but that's not going to work for you, right?
Yeah.
And here's a leadership that's kind of realizing this. Okay, I have this realization. What do I do about it? Where are the fundamental things that I need to be addressing here?
Yeah. First, I think companies need to start very small. I think they have to pick the problem statements and try to solve. The ultimate goal, in my opinion, is that they need to have a foundation layer where the system of records, whatever they're doing, is recorded and the data is best data is entered, digitized data. So what we call as an application layer, which is doing all your business, whether it's finance, whether it's supply chain, whether you're buying something, the layer that runs the business needs to be robust and should be generating coherent data, right? So that's the first step. If an organization is not at this layer, I think business AI and AI from a corporate point of view, enterprise point of view, will not give them any result. Yes, they can keep doing some stuff like, use OpenAI and stuff to write better mails, have better picture, but business output, forecasting cash position on first to pay their salaries to their employees, if you need to do some of these, or identifying the suppliers' possible 3 defaulters, for my invoices, throwing those kind of data, you need a very robust system, which is the application layer. And this is what we're working with a lot of SMEs. In fact, 80% of our customers globally are small and medium enterprises. 80%.
Okay. So how do you define from SAP's point of view an SME?
So SME is any, actually differs for different geographies. For Indian subcontinent, we say any organizations which is below 250 million euros.
In terms of revenue.
Below 250
million
is SME.
Right.
And this ranges, our customers range from 25 million to billions, right? So our customers range. So 80% of our customers fall in this bracket in Indian subcontinent as well.
Annual revenue of.
And also, something I think the important point is, I think if you consider today, if you're building a business off a box of Legos, this also lends itself to, for a company who's starting even at a 25 million revenue, might be focusing on a part of a value ecosystem, right? And by being digital and even leveraging AI, they can optimize the resources they want to consume. Say, for example, with COVID, every kitchen became a cloud kitchen. But that wouldn't have been a reality if Pick Me and Uber weren't there for the last mile delivery.
Sure.
So they didn't have to own it. But with being on the digital platform, using AI, they're able to optimally use what they want to consume from the ecosystem and then build what they are good at, right? So I think you don't have to own the entire value chain anymore.
Right.
So I think that's the benefit today we are seeing in the today's business model innovation, is that you can focus on one or two that what you're good at, and then use digital to connect the dots and use AI to optimize that.
Link that up with data centricity. I mean, we are talking about SME customers being defined as ones with 25 million euro annual revenue, as far as SAP is concerned. And we talked about an application layer. You need the fundamentals in place, right? And here is a business that's kind of maybe thinking, okay, I've got some of that stuff in place. I'm not sure whether the application layer I'm running is the best in class. Can it scale? Can it kind of deliver for me the results I want? Relate that to data centricity. Should you be thinking about these two things independently and dealing with them independently? Should you kind of think through as a whole? How do you start?
So if you look at the process, say for example, you take a manufacturer. Now say the supply chain. They may be, or say for example, if I'm producing soft drinks, I might have to buy raw material like sugar. Sometimes I might say, because of my efficient sourcing, I might procure sugar for the next 3 months, 6 months.
Sure.
Right? But little would I know that if I had something like Ariba, a procurement system which probably lists all the suppliers of sugar in the world, that I have a better opportunity to source just in time and at the better pricing.
Sure.
Right? Because of the good practices that I have got used to, I say, okay, no, I'll buy sugar every 3 months based on the global market price. But little do I know that the price volatility is so much that I could say, if I really track the price volatility through a procurement system like Ariba. Maybe
that's fantastic.
Rajeev,
you're sharing data across the network so that your decisions are optimized. Can you explain how this happens?
Absolutely. I think building on this data centricity as well. So when you have an application layer, any AI will be only as good as the data is trained on. It's absolutely known. Now, when you look at today's, OpenAI, etc., some of these models are learning on publicly available data, on Google data, on Twitter data, possibly what's happening in the world, and it's learning and learning. For corporate, is that relevant? Does a corporate need an industry-specific learned AI? What happens in my pharmaceutical? Is my AI able to throw that data for my industry, for my process? A procurement process in a pharma is not what a global normal LLM will throw to you.
Yes.
So what I'm saying is the business AI needs to be relevant, which is, if you want it now in this process, it needs to be reliable. Reliable meaning it knows industry, what it's throwing. It is learned on that industry. And third is responsible, which is the ethical AI. Any decision in corporate thrown by business AI, you should be able to backtrace it. Because you are a corporate, you are responsible to your shareholders, to stock market, listing, and so that if you took a decision based on business AI, what were the algorithms? What happened behind? And it's very important. And just linking it to data, hence when I said this layer needs to have a coherent data that it produces, then the business AI, are we training that on only our business data? An SME will not have enough data to train business AI on. But do you have an organization like SAP who's trained it on its 40,000 enterprise customers globally? It's already trained for 2 years, 3 years. And when a SME uses it for its own vertical,
you wouldn't have enough data sets.
The first response will be so relevant so that they can be really good.
So
that's how.
For those of us who have used LLM models, you find that responses from very specific
generic,
questions are very broad, generic. I mean, if you have the benefit of 40,000 customers who are inputting whose data is used, but you kind of address this, Rajeev. But how do you kind of address the concerns that a company may have that you're a large player, you have your data is your new oil, right? That set of data can generate insights for you. How do you reconcile the fact that a small 20 million euro player in India can now benefit from that data?
So first of all, I think the data is very specific to a customer. The models are just trained on that data, on the patterns. It's not trained on a data of 40,000 customers. So the model is just getting trained. For example, a cash position forecasting needs how many inputs? In a pharma company, it'll be different. In a banking, it'll be different. In a manufacturing, it'll be different. So the AI knows that if it's for this industry, these are the three things that I need. So when an SME is using this, so the AI model knows that this is the pattern I need to look for. And that's where, so SME's data stays with them. Only the model or the algorithm is being used.
I think that's where the common misnomer is that when you use software like SAP or DeepSeek or whatever, that your data is compromised, which is not the case, right?
Yeah.
So if you're using a AI service which is kind of generic, which is off the cloud, it is the case. But here, you're having your own instance of SAP, which is running the AI algorithm running on your data, right? And it's captive to you, but it's trained on the global data sets. So it benefits from the global data sets in terms of getting trained, so that you're getting the benefit of, like saying, tapping on multiple brains to validate your output, but on your data set, which is privy to you, which is not public domain.
Right. That perspective is really valuable here. And I think there's two different concepts that we're talking about, right? Ramesh, to you, what do you think collaborations with tech giants like SAP, and for those of you who don't understand SAP is the largest ERP enterprise company in the world. It's based out of, it's a German company. It's been in business for
52 years.
52 years. It's a long time for a tech company to have
Survived
and thrived. It's not just survived, but thrived, right? So when you collaborate with a company like SAP, what do local players, local businesses have to gain? And when you work with a partner like JKIT with SAP, what's the synergy? What do you put on the table?
If you look at something, I think John Keells was probably the second customer to implement SAP way back in 2004 after MAS. But that time it was very pricey, and it was, I think, felt that this is only for the enterprise big boys.
Right.
But today, that myth has been broken. So today, we are seeing SMBs embracing this with open arms, because they see a lot more bells and whistles which comes with the ERP. Is not only about just transaction processing, right? So you have your data algorithm, you have extensibility in terms of process automation, even all the new stacks that you're talking about. So today, if you look at a manufacturing company, gets the benefit of, even if they don't want to do procurement on their own, can even have a procurement portal externally, but still use the external data sets through, because it's a modular architecture which has been availed, right? Like I said, the Lego box. So today a customer could incrementally build that infrastructure and the applications, because he doesn't have to own today, right? So today, earlier, if you look at when we implement SAP, we had to build our own data center, we had to procure our own servers, own storage. Today, all of that comes as a service, right? So you don't have to, this is like, if you want to have a beer, you don't build a brewery, right? You just want to go have a beer.
Yeah.
So that's what today's SAP is all about. You just pay for a monthly fee, you consume that service. And all the R&D, the product development, everything is done by SAP on a continuous basis. So you're getting all of that wealth of innovation at your fingertips, and you don't have to worry about it, right? So I think that is really kind of fueling adoption we are seeing, even at, like Rajeev said, $25 million companies also looking at SAP. But the benefits are much more, right? The efficiency that they could drive are much more. The business model innovation that they could do is much more.
You've been working as an implementing partner for SAP for a long time, Ramesh, JKIT. What are the most significant challenges you've encountered in implementing AI solutions? And then how have you tried to get around them?
So I think the biggest challenge, I would think, if you compare Sri Lanka to mature market like USA, cloud adoption, right? We are less than about 25%, where US is close to about 90%. So why I'm saying that is, now when you have most of your infrastructure running captively in your data center, you are constrained by capacity. You have to at least look at a capital life cycle. So innovation is restricted by a capital life cycle of depreciating that asset every 5 years. Your capacity, if you want to increase, you have a wait cycle of 3 to 6 months from order to delivery. So I think that is the biggest challenge I think we have to break in terms of first step being move into the cloud, right? So today, I don't think there's an SAP offering on-prem, right?
No. Yeah.
So because it clearly says
on-premises,
you have to
having
buy
the
data
servers.
center. Yeah. So today it's a given. A business who is going to start today has no option to go on-prem, right? So the legacy, it's about how do you bring legacy to digital? That's the biggest challenge. But the guys who are on a legacy tech have this fear of the unknown and don't want to give it up to move to the cloud. So if they don't take that step, AI is going to be a pretty difficult and daunting task because your data sets, your data is which is going to grow, which is going to fuel your innovation, right? So I think that's the baby step that most people have to take. And the second one is in terms of the quality of data. So do you have the right quality of data that you could use to run AI, right? So a lot of the people deploy AI, data quality and data sets probably is the missing link, right? And it becomes a biggest failure. I think these are the two challenges I would think: cloud adoption and data quality.
Can you frame that in the Indian context, Rajeev? Now, Ramesh says cloud adoption is maybe 10% in Sri Lanka. Does India face a similar challenge? How are you approaching that?
Yeah, it's very similar. And we did recently a survey and with 2,500 enterprises. And the results said that 96% of SMEs said that AI is their priority.
Right.
And from a difficulty point of view, your question was that, how difficult is it for SMEs to really go in this AI strategy, AI implementation? I think still in India, I would say large enterprises are possibly ready to take a lot of AI jump because they have enough data, enough processes. I think small and medium enterprises are still trying to get their processes right, get their data right to really leverage this AI. So one of the challenges which I see is that everybody wants to jump onto this business AI, but if they don't have a business case, as I said, for a business AI, I think that will be the biggest impediment to this entire strategy of business AI. So especially building on this, you talked about Sri Lanka. I just wanted to highlight also, Shamindra, we came to Sri Lanka as SAP late 1998, 2000. It's been 25, 26 years. And we would not have grown to 300 plus customers in Sri Lanka if we did not have local partners, JKIT being one, and there are multiple partners. And that's been SAP's strategy, whether in India, any part of the world, we are the product and we need local partners to really take the message to the larger and smaller enterprises in that country.
Ramesh, what trends do you predict will shape the future of AI in business? Let's talk about the next 5 to 10 years.
So I think the biggest shift that I am seeing is in terms of AI moving to the edge, right? So today, a lot of the AI runs in big data centers, like the hyperscalers. So today, I think with computing capacity, with edge computing, AI at the edge is going to be the most phenomenal thing which is going to happen because you're going to see a lot of productivity benefits and instantaneous gratification in terms of customer getting service autonomously, right? You take even an ATM. An ATM would be able to predict, okay, based on the cash that I have dispensed, this is what I would need to be refilled, right? I don't think a guy sitting in the bank needs to analyze that, right? The ATM would say, okay, the last 1 month, this is what I have dispensed on a daily basis, maybe 150 rupee notes, 1,000, maybe 200,000 notes. So it will be able to do that point
analysis.
Adjust
for seasonality stuff, factors like that.
So similarly, even in a supermarket, a point of sale machine should be able to say at this store, this is my replenishment required. Right. So I think that's going to really fuel innovation, efficiencies, supply chain efficiencies, your stock holding costs, your inventory holding costs, entire thing could be optimized because that is the power of AI. If you really look at that, you need to look at, okay, what is the data set I could use at the edge rather than bringing everything back to the core to crunch it.
Just define that concept, what is the edge strategy? This is, what do you mean by edge?
So when I say at the edge, so closer to where your product or service is getting consumed, right? ATM machine is for a bank.
Sure.
A point of sale machine or supermarket is for a retail consumer.
Right.
For a manufacturing, it could be the store. So if you look at, I think Cisco Labs, right? They run their biggest captive offshore development center in Sri Lanka. But Cisco is the biggest food supply chain distributor. So the first deployment was point of sale machine, right? The point of sale machine gave them input. This is what this restaurant is ordering, right? And this day, I think Cisco started here about as Cake Labs about 10, 15 years back. But that data at the edge is what is fueling the innovation today in terms of managing the entire food supply chain, right? So I think that is what businesses need to think of. Why am I collecting this data? How is this data going to impact my consumer who is consuming this at the edge? If you don't connect the two dots, AI won't be sustainable. But that's why that point solutions in terms of AI, the life cycle will be very short, right? So you got to continuously keep reinventing your wheel to ensure that ultimately you're personalizing that to the customer and he's happy and he's going to come back and consume more.
So those AI insights necessarily should lead to
Benefits.
an altered strategy. I mean, you can get the insights, but you acting on them means you need to relook at how you're running your business, how you're making your decisions, what processes underlie that. So you're coming full circle virtually.
Just adding on to that, I think this edge, another term which people are now using in the tech world is also called as Agentic AI.
Agentic AI. Yes.
Agentic AI is what, in a way, Ramesh is what talking about also edge. Edge could be on that machine which is about to fail. Let's say you're an amusement park and there's an AI which is today is emitting data to cloud. Cloud is analyzing it, sending it back. Hey, you're about to fail, right? And there's a latency. What Ramesh is talking about is on the edge, there's a chip which can just tell machine and stop that machine then. There's a heat. So this is something the future of AI is. What as a tech company we are trying to solve is have that, call this as agents of AI at the edge. And then that agent is talking to the agent at backend for decision making. It's not only information, but also transaction. So agents are talking. In SAP, we've already touched this space within the gamut of SAP or enterprises. So we're saying that there's an agent of supply chain, there's an agent of customer, there's an agent at POS machine. So if something's happening, that agent is pinging, checking that is my inventory there or not there every time. And there's an inventory agent sitting here. It is telling that, hey, do you need more? Do you need more? There's a connection happening. If there's something wrong, the transaction happens. The inventory is dispatched that place. So this is what we're calling it as the next level of AI, which is called Agentic AI. And we believe that the future of AI based in corporate should not be entering anything. It should be a co-pilot mode. Hey, tell me what's happening in this store. And it should be just, agents should be talking and then you have the result so that you can just act very fast. So this is something that we've already started working, and we have something called as SAP Joule. Joule is your co-pilot. So it's an assistant, intelligent assistant. And we are saying that assistant will not execute on your behalf.
It will
ask. Will not replace you. It will ask, because it's very important for
So I think that's the reason you call it a co-pilot. The pilot is there.
Yes.
Right? So it is assisting you. It's an assisted thing. So and also I think the lot of the opportunity with AI is also in terms of taking it to the next level. Say for example, cybersecurity, right? Today, your endpoint security which runs on your device draws intelligence from the central node and can even mitigate the threat, right? Because I think that's what now we're going to, in terms of MXDR, managed extended defense remediation. So I think that is what technology is evolving too, right? So you will still have the brain, but your edge is able to make decisions with the limited knowledge and the algorithm which has been pumped into the edge device also.
How can organizations prepare for the potential disruptions that AI may bring to traditional business models? I mean, you talked about how unprepared the average Sri Lankan SME business is. I mean, let's talk medium-sized business.
I think the bigger challenge would be to come to terms and get comfortable with the technology which is evolving rather than fight it. So I would say the more you kind of alienate technology, you're going to probably your very survival is going to get threatened, right? So I think the moment you start kind of getting familiar with the technology, at least do some low-hanging fruit stuff, experiment with the technology, so that you understand that even to use AI, there is foundation stuff which is required, right? Like he said, you need to have a transaction system, you need to have quality data. So that build up at least is going to be a 3 to 5 year journey, So, but good thing is, even if you're starting a 3 to 5 year journey with a platform like SAP, AI is embedded. So you don't have to wait a 3 to 5 year journey to start your AI journey. So the day you jump onto a platform like SAP, your AI journey starts at the same day.
Sure.
Right?
Because not very long ago there were companies that were trying to deploy AI independently on the platforms.
That'll be difficult. That'll be difficult for SMB because then you have to get to the 5 year maturity, then deploy AI. Here you have organization is giving all packaged in so that you can benefit of the technology which is evolving in sync with your journey in terms of your business as well.
I think beautifully put, Ramesh. I think the fastest way to get on AI is to work with a platform which is already embedded AI, because taking out data, building data lakes on it, building connections, and that's what we say that why it is important. You have a system, you take the data out to a data warehouse where you want your AI to learn from it. Now the data you've taken out, but you don't know the context of the data. So when I say, let's say you've taken a material number, this is my material, this is my phone material number comes.
Yeah.
It doesn't know phone came from which supplier, phone belongs to which employee, phone is an asset of employee. The data doesn't know the context. So now somebody will sit on this data store and build context. It's a service. It'll take 6 months for somebody to build that context. And this is what you call as data cubes. Then AI will come and they'll start learning, a phone belongs to possibly employees, it comes from suppliers. Then it starts learning, right? What we are saying is that if you have a platform, if that data is contextualized, what SAP is saying, in ERP, we know we hold the most important data of corporates, what is happening in finance, what is happening on procurement. So when you take this data out, we know this phone has 5 connections. And this phone's data is metadata of phone data is very important in AI. Then AI knows that what to learn out of it. And this, as Ramesh said, can just make your process of AI adoption so quick. So the strategy, in my view, for any SME should be look for a base level of ERP, what we call as Grow for SME. And that comes with embedded AI. So everything on your business process you can do. You want to build anything on top of it, which is not within this purview. Let's say you want to build something for visitor management, or you want to do something beyond this and get that data also in AI to be trained. You can build an AI
as extension,
as extension to non-SAP data, which is outside data. And then the AI layer can learn on everything, SAP plus non-SAP. And that's the fastest way to
So the beautiful thing is, they have 150 pre-built models, right? So like mini LLMs. So for a CFO, for a CIO, for a CHRO. So they have a CFO dashboard. So most of the KPIs the CFO will look at is there. He could drill down and get to, as I said, in AI, it's about asking the right questions, not finding the answer, right? So all those questions are embedded. That's called embedded analytics, right? So that power, if a company has to build, they will need data scientists, they will need a modeler, all of that. So that resource for an SMB is unaffordable and unsustainable. So this gives you a quick answer in terms of evolution. And then building your purpose-built models, maybe you could go to a partner and build those as extensions.
So if an organization is kind of getting into this journey, right? Sure. Now I outlined how to approach it. Get out there, start building these base layers, and start working with the data. From day one, you can have AI working alongside you, right? What capabilities should they also be thinking about in terms of people? Does that matter in this transformative journey that we're talking about?
Nothing can be implemented without people skill. First point. I think people will have to really embrace, I think from a skill point of view, whatever was common, just coding. If somebody was surviving purely on coding, will have to really upskill, because that coding can become 10 times faster with AI now, embedded AI. So the from a people strategy point of view, people have to leverage these tools to be more productive. If they are not ready for it, I think all these implementations will fail. So people upskilling, reskilling is extremely important in my view. But yeah, you'll need a great partner, any SME, anybody who's trying to do it. Yes, you can do in-house, but first step you have to have through a reliable partner. Like for us, John Keells does that work. And then you can train your internal team and keep upskilling them every time. So it's very, very important on people's side. But yeah,
I think
Ramesh,
if you take a simple example, even 10, 15 years back, now if you leave somewhere and we say we want to go to, say, SSC or somewhere, someone will say this is shorter, and we'll have a huge debate about who's going to get there faster. Maybe if I have better driving skill, I might get there faster, even the path is longer. But today with Google Maps, with all the data sets, you know, okay, this is the most viable path given these traffic conditions if you're leaving at, say, 1 o'clock, right? So that is how context sensitive your decision is, right? So today AI is giving you information, but ultimate decision lies with the pilot. It's a human being, right? So if I have access to Google Maps, I don't want to use it, is my problem. But we are saying it is there, use it. Only thing is your quality of decisions and outcome, and cost of that outcome is going to be optimal, right? So I think that's the whole thing that people have to come to terms with. Is not that AI is saying that it's superior, but it is obviously having a better data set and a better algorithm to give what you want, consume it, right? I think that's the simple answer. And I would think, as I said, it's got a lot of getting used to, right? And for the right reasons, not for the wrong reasons. So that's where the ethical, all these guardrails, everything matters as well from a governance standpoint.
As we speak, Sri Lanka is embarking at a very broad national level on digitalizing identity, right? India has done that, and I think it's unlocked a lot of value for people, for companies, in all sorts of unimaginable ways, right? As companies have to now consider what are the likely implications on their industries and businesses due to people preferring to use mobile smartphones for payments and all that, right? Should they be thinking about AI in the mix of the solution that they'd want to see here?
Definitely. I think a couple of the industries, if you look at health, agriculture, tourism, if you take the airports, right? I think AI could definitely eliminate a lot of points of friction in terms of industry that we want to expand and maybe accelerate growth, right? Even agri-tech to healthcare, wherever we feel there is a shortage in terms of people, but the demand is more, right? Demand exceeds the supply in terms of service quality. The AI is a quick fix, right? Because it's automation of the process and self-service. Right. So the issue is that I always say, you talk about mobile first, cloud first, then AI first, right? So if you don't have mobile, there's no point going to the cloud. If you are not on the cloud, you can't drive AI. So because we kind of are proponents of that, say mobile first, cloud first, AI first. If you link the three, any business would be able to then give the consumer the choice to consume whatever product or service they're offering, when they want, where they want, right? And that's the power. Then AI is able to then predict, okay, is this customer going to consume this at store A, store B, what day of week, but what time of day, and what quantity.
But it's also at the same time not so hopeless, right? If you've not really gotten a start, it doesn't mean that you have to wait 5 years to go step by step.
With this, that's the thing. So with this, all this comes packaged in. Mobile first, cloud first, AI first, all in one box.
Right.
Yeah. In fact, we have implemented our shortest implementation of cloud AI-based ERP in 12 weeks. So the customers have been up and running in 12 weeks, small and medium enterprises. So I think that's the pace that you can get with a SAP kind of solution, which has done
For SMB,
it's
actually you're talking about 4 months.
Yeah, 3 months, 4 months, and they're up and running everything. On your point of digital economy and unlocking the potential, I think one point is, yes, in India we saw ONDCs of the world, the UPIs of the world, they unlocked the digital economy, and a lot of
fintech,
SMEs got it's one way, it's a great opportunity. On the other side, if SMEs are not ready, they can just be overpowered overnight by digital natives. So there'll be a lot of data, a lot of demand will come your way, a lot of supplier requests will come your way when the digital economy opens. So you need to have a strategy, a platform, an AI strategy, which you can really skim through, Otherwise, you'll be wasting a lot of your resources on wrong leads, wrong suppliers, wrong. So a lot of data unlocking will bring a lot of data. You got to be ready to really utilize this, humongous opportunity which will be unlocked by digital economy.
But I think Singapore and Dubai are probably two important things, because if you really want to drive digital, you have to drive e-government.
Yes.
Right? So e-government today, you can take a quick start with AI, right? Because you could automate a lot of the processes, cut through all these inefficiencies and bureaucracies, right? And give the power to the consumer to consume the government services.
I mean, this has been a wide-ranging and fascinating conversation. I must congratulate both of you for being so open and contributing so much. Can I ask each of you to, if you have anything to add in conclusion, Rajeev first, and then Ramesh.
Yeah, my point is that any organization which is looking for a digital transformation or AI as a strategy, you need to be ready with 3 or 4 things. One, your reason for change needs to be well documented. As a head of the organization, you need to know why you're transforming and define your KPIs. It's revenue growth, it's newer markets, whatever that goal, and how AI is going to, or any transformation is going to help you in each of the KPI. Second, look at building your platform or the base first. Any big building can be made only if there's good base. Right?
It's a good, strong foundation.
Yeah, good foundation. And foundation layer is what we call as the application layer, which is the ERP for organizations in corporate. So that's very important. Third, keep building. Put right data in that foundation layer also. Whenever you're doing, do not do, if a system is telling that do not go and edit dates, don't do backdate entry. If platform is giving that flexibility, it's not for you for future, if any. So SAP doesn't allow anybody to go change in backdates, etc. So audit trail. So that foundation is important so that you get the right data for the right analysis of AI. That's the second part. Third, I think just tell your team people that we are in an unprecedented era of convergence where technology and business are intertwined at every level, at individual level or at corporate level, at finance level, HR level. So if the employee of the organization is not appreciating this fact or learning, upskilling himself from a tools point of view, I think that will be done. And fourth, whenever you're thinking of this digital transformation, the last point is that look around your ecosystem. Somebody would have done it. Either your peer would have done it or some tech player like John Keells would have done it. Talk to them, understand, involve them in your step. Do not jump in on your own thinking that yes, somebody is telling that this AI can do this and just start off on your own. So these are 4 things I think very important. I just want to leave message with whoever the audience is.
So I would want to probably go back to my opening statement. Because today AI is not a complete advantage, it's a business imperative, and it should be a boardroom agenda. I think a lot of the times it's left to the tech folks, IT folks to figure out, okay, what should we be doing with AI? It should not be the discussion. It's a business agenda that every board member and every C-level executive should be looking at. And I think that is what then probably also would raise the questions in terms of, do I have the right technology to drive this? Do I have the right data to drive this? So the questions have to be raised at the board level, challenging the organization in terms of why aren't we doing this, right? I think that's the right way. I feel AI could be driven even in governments anywhere. It should be top down because you should be bothered if you're not doing it, right? Because 20 years back it was about e-commerce, then it was about cloud, then it was about security, right? So today AI and security needs to go hand in glove, and it's both are serious boardroom agendas which should be discussed and which is mostly avoided in our boardrooms.
Ramesh, Rajeev, thank you. This has been a wonderful conversation.
Thank you, Shamendra, for
Thank
having
you.
us. Yeah.